What's going on, everyone? This is Sheena, aka Sheenapreneur, your favorite veteran. Today I want to come to you all and talk to you about what they don't talk to you about when it comes to government contracting. Now, they is not a specific person, but you all know who they are. So I just wanted to cover a few things that some people don't really express when it comes to government contracting because I feel like they're extremely important, and we're going to get to it right after the intro. Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. Here on the Sheenapreneur channel, I share information about government contracting, veteran business content, and other business tips. Okay, so one of the things that people don't talk about when it comes to government contracting is a startup cost. So sometimes you might get lucky like I did when I had my first contract and I got an advance. For those who haven't been following me or haven't heard that story, I got an advance with my very first contract. I actually opened my business bank account with that first check of an advance for a flooring contract that I had at the local county here in Georgia. That has never happened again, but I just let people know that it is possible that you can be brand new, not know anyone, and actually get an advance for a contract that you're going to execute on. It's also not typical, so don't go into it saying Sheena said I'm gonna get me like an advance. No, that's not usually it. But you do probably need some sort of startup costs when it comes to operating your contract. So when you win, contrary to popular belief at this point in 2023, that all you got to do is win the contract and everything is going to be magic. That's not it. What they don't talk about is some of the issues that you may have when it comes to actually getting paid. So we started off, my company Foresight Industries started off at the local level. So local, sometimes, depending on where you are notorious for paying people late. So I always tell people, all my students in the GovCon Now community, that you need to plan to have enough funds to cover your business for 60 days. Now, most of us don't have that. Most of us don't have access to capital. We don't have that money saved. But I will say, to go into a contract that you feel you could possibly float for 60 days. So having some sort of funding to sustain yourself, especially those who are transitioning out of their job and they have no income coming in, I would always say, even though you won say $1 million contract, say a $500,000, say a $50,000, say a $10,000 contract, you need to be able to pull that money from somewhere. If you're paying staff, if you're paying for supplies, or if you're paying for anything related to this contract, you need to have some sort of funds. It's not just seeing what happens. You really need to prepare just like you would prepare for any other business. So the second thing that I want to talk about is, I always preach about knowing your industry. I cannot stress this enough. It is so dangerous to go into an industry that you have no idea what the gaps are. I preach about this over and over and over again, but what they don't talk about is, yes, you can find someone, you can find an expert that is in that field that you are going into. However, if you don't know the gaps and the subcontractor that you hire is not willing to tell you or doesn't tell you, or themselves, they don't understand, you're opening yourself up to a lot of issues with your contract. I'm always on the positive side, hoping that your contract goes exceptionally well and that you won't have any issues. But I would always say, please ensure that you're going into something that you can kind of understand. If you're going into a field that is a little hard to understand in general, such as like a fuel contract, and you know nothing about fuel per se, like we can always say, I understand fuel because I pump gas in my car, but do you really understand what it takes to get, fuel from point A to point B, with weather issues, possibly with any type of logistical issues? Anytime you don't understand an industry, always go to the logistics part. I actually explained that to a student this past week, is if you're looking at something that seems like it might be easy to do and you know nothing about the industry, go to the logistics piece. How can you get that item or that service to its destination? Whether it's an employee, whether it's a product, whether it's, anything, how do you get that service or that product from point A to point B? The manufacturer, are they going to mail it? How much is it going to be? Are you going to mail it? It's going to come to you first and then you mail it out. A service, does the employee live close? Do they have reliable transportation? What happens if they don't have reliable transportation? Who's going to fill in? What happens if that person is repetitively late to a location? How does that logistical piece work when it comes to you fixing this contract? Another thing that's not often talked about is needing staff. I never really hear about people saying that they actually need a staff in order to run a contract. I just recently had a student who went through the course. Actually, we're gonna play that interview, and that's gonna be put out shortly. But he actually, followed all the steps. he ended up hiring like a capture manager of sorts after he realized there was a lot to do when it came to, bidding on contracts and registering as a vendor and all these things. So a lot of people don't really talk about what else do you need. Yes, you can hire a subcontractor to execute the work, but I teach about building your business. So in building your business, you really need to have someone who's going to be, doing the admin stuff as you're out there pounding the pavement and trying to build up your business to, sustainability. Every part of your business cannot be solely relied on government contracts. That is actually a part of government contracting that is actually going to be changed here in the near future. There was a regulation that came out that stated that 100% of your business cannot be relied on federal contracting. Now, I'm not sure if that rolls into local contracting as well, but you also need to make sure you're building up your business as a business. So if you get an opportunity for a large commercial project or a large corporate project, that you're able to actually, have some flexibility and understanding of what does that mean. And then also I have this, government side, but you're still running a business at the end of the day. You're running a business with this specific industry, and it should be transferable to commercial, corporate, or any other type of client that you may have. So within my course, I teach, about your first few hires, like who are the people that you're going to hire? Well, who are they going to be? Is it going to be an admin? Is that who you need? Is it going to be a capture manager? And a capture manager is the one who's supposed to be capturing all of your contracts for you, capturing the forecast, capturing, the relationships related to contracts. So you may want that person to be your first hire. You may need a second in command. So you need a vice president, or you need a COO, or you need someone else who's going to kind of run the operations while you're out there pounding the pavement and building the relationships. Or maybe you're the money person. So you need the business sense person who's going to say, okay, we got to bring in more business. I know you're crunching the numbers, Sheena. You're the finance person, but I need to be the operations person or the innovative spirit that's going to capture more opportunities. Maybe you need an HR manager. Maybe your company is really just more staffing. And so the most advantageous hire that you have is going to be an HR manager. So it's really, really important as you're going through and picking what industry you want to get into, who are my hires going to be? It can't all be you. That's not an efficient business. There are some people who are running businesses solo dolo, not advisable, because how are you going to get from, my old stylist used to say, get from behind the chair? How are you going to get from behind the computer so you can go on vacations and chill and live your best life without being, stuck to the computer or stuck to the phone, always chasing the opportunities or at least being available for the opportunities. The main focus is to try to get you from behind the chair and having someone else run your business for you. That's one of the biggest focuses that I had and still have for running, essentially both of my businesses. So it's really about how you're going to manage your staff. How are you going to hire your staff? Where are you getting your staff from? Are you hiring your friends? Are you hiring family? Are you hiring people you know? Are you getting them off of Indeed? Are you, how are you bringing these people in? I find that when it comes to hiring people, a lot of people will start with people that they know. And then that relationship goes, and then you're like, I don't ever want to hire anyone again because I've already done that, Sheena. I've already gone that route and it didn't work out. Well, newsflash, it's probably because you were hiring the wrong people in the wrong position and you just tried to make it work and it didn't work. I'm actually do a video on that about hiring the wrong people, because it's really, really important for you to understand that you're hiring for your company. You have a real company and you need real staff members who are going to do real things and they have experience in what you're hiring them for. Another thing that people don't really talk about is, accounting and bookkeeping. I talked about this pretty in depth in another video, and I also did the videos with my accountant. If you haven't got a chance to check those out, check them out. The one video was about 2 hours, but then I cut it down into part 1, part 2, and then also did some shorts with that, so you can check those out. I'll leave a link in the description. But basically, contrary to popular belief, again, people feel like they don't need a bookkeeper or an accountant. Now, you may not be able to afford one or both of those, but it's abundantly important to make sure that your stuff is categorized properly, because as you grow, you might go from $0 to $1 million within 1 year or less. And so it's really important to have that stuff already lined up and already put together when you start, because you have to, at some point, if you believe in yourself, right? Everyone, I'm assuming, if you get started in government contracting, contracting, you believe that you're actually going to grow into a big business, or at least a big small business, because a big small business can be $45 million annual. So if you believe in yourself and you believe that you're going to grow and you're going to be a real business and you're going to do real stuff and real big things, then you need to start treating your business like a real business. Start off with a bookkeeper, and in QuickBooks and some other services, they have built-in bookkeepers for you where they will go through your books. And now most people do that on the back end, or they do that when they're already a year in or 6 months in, and then they're, having a heart attack because they're not they're having to do the retro fix instead of having it as the things come in. Then that bookkeeper can categorize them right away, and then you don't have to worry about trying to go back and figure out, what was this? I don't even remember what this is. I don't remember what this transaction is. And so that's just something that I don't really hear a lot about. Again, I teach about business. I'm not teaching just about government contracting. I'm teaching about how to build a successful government contracting business. So also, what they're not telling you about government contracting is how organized you need to be. I think some people, especially my veterans, are typically in my realtors. I feel like my realtors, real estate agents, and brokers are like very, very, very organized. But those who aren't, I think it's important to note that you really need to be, especially if you're working on the federal side. Sometimes you may be audited, and so everyone is gonna scream that they're good to go until they're not, and then you're trying to double back and find this document. Oh, it's somewhere in my email. That's not an efficient system. Email and text is not an efficient system. You need a better system to track everything. So pull a report, all that stuff is there, or it's organized in a folder. I do teach that as a very specific step within my course, is to categorize these things specifically so you're able to find them very, very easily. There's nothing like trying to apply for your certification, registering Sam. Well, Sam, you don't really need to upload any documents, but registering as a vendor on some of the local sites and some of the corporate sites where they need you to provide ABCD, and you have to search through an email. Is this the most updated item? And is this the right one? And that's just, it makes no sense. So for our company, we use G Suite, and that's GSUITE, G Suite. And that's basically like Google, but they'll give you your own email extension. So your name at yourcompany.com. And I hope no one else is still using Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo as their professional email. Don't do that. Just don't. Just don't. So, ensuring that you have your stuff organized. If you use G Suite, they have Google Drive, and you can categorize your stuff that way and organize them into a nice, pretty folder, and you'll be able to find them and pull them down immediately. Yes, you can put that stuff on your computer, but what if your computer crashes? Some people don't trust the cloud, but hey, at this point, you have no choice but to trust the cloud, because pretty much everything that you do is somewhere stored on the cloud. Pictures, document, whatever. So get past that idea of you don't want stuff stored on the cloud. Now, one thing you can do is have your stuff on a thumb drive. I've had corrupted thumb drives. I've lost thumb drives. My computer has crashed before. So the only thing that's been pretty consistent is the cloud. So, it's free for the first few, I don't even know how many megabytes or terabytes it actually is, but that is something that I just don't really hear a lot about, is making sure you stay organized in case you get audited, in case you need to certify for something, in case you need a loan. All these documents need to be easily accessible. You're not like frazzled trying to find these things. You need to have them already organized, and especially those who are going after the 8A certification, because you probably need the most documents ever when it comes to those certifications, for that certification. So that's something that I know I haven't really seen, but it's a part of business building. It's a part of like mental training for you to ensure that you are, building your best business life. So those are just a couple I wanted to identify what they are not telling you need when it comes to government contracting. Government contracting is not just throwing something up against the wall and hoping it sticks. It really, really is about business building. If you believe in yourself, if you believe that you're going to do great things in this realm of industry, then you need to make sure that your stuff is on point and stop trying to make this a side hustle. This is not a side hustle. So stop treating it that way. Treat it the right way. So for those who are not familiar, I have my circle community where we have like hundreds of people in there now, all sharing information and helping each other. And that includes grants. We put grants in there. We put networking opportunities in there. We're sharing resources. We're trying to collaborate with those who are in the same area. area, similar industries who want to do business together. We are fostering that community. And of course, those who are not familiar with the course, GovCon Now, I teach about federal contracting, local contracting, and corporate contracting. I have stuff for my veterans, and right now we are doing a Veterans Day sale. I want my veterans especially to take advantage of this opportunity, because there are a lot of veteran opportunities for business owners, veteran business opportunities that are available that I know a lot of you have not taken advantage of, because I talk to so many people and they're like, oh, I never heard of that program. I never heard of that free resource. I never heard of this thing. And so as your favorite veteran, I want to be the person to share these things with you. Even if it's not the course, I want to be able to share these things with you in order for you to be successful. So until next time, it is your favorite veteran.